Nurarihyon, meaning slippery gourd, is a mysterious and powerful yokai encountered all across Japan. He is sometimes called Nurarihyon, the Yōkai Sōdaishō, Supreme Commander of Yokai, the leader of the Hyakki Yagyō, the night parade of 100 demons, the king of the Chiryomoji, the spirits of earth and air. In modern Japan, Nurarihyon is a yokai of many grand titles, all of which obfuscate his origins in a humble sea monster, floating in the Seto Inland Sea. The oldest accounts of Nurarihyon, and the ones that owe more to folklore than commerce, come from Okayama Prefecture. Nurarihyon is described as a type of umibozu, the slippery floater. Of these legends is described as a bulbous mass that floats on the Seto Inland Sea, eternally bobbing up and down between the surfaces of the water. This Nurarihyon is thought to be a yokai version of the jellyfish called the Portuguese man-o' war. Some consider it to be a baby umibozu that eventually grows up into the full-sized monster. The most common version of Nurarihyon in the modern world is that of the unwanted houseguest. He is almost always described in this way. One hectic days when the household is running around with barely a second to think, Nurarihyon slips casually into the house and sits down to a cup of tea, acting as if he were the lord of the manor. People who see him and the casual ease with which he takes authority assume that he must indeed be the lord. They fall upon themselves serving him, and don't realize how they have been deceived until he is gone. The evolution of this version of Nurarihyon is unknown. It is thought to rise from Toriyama Seiken, who drew Nurarihyon as an old man with an oversized head, draped in a fine kimono and stepping out of a fancy palanquin into a home for his Gazu Hyakki Yagyō, illustrated night parade of 100 demons. In Murakami Kenji's Yokai Dictionary, he says that the modern appearance of Nurarihyon is entirely an invention of Toriyama. In fact, Murakami notes that Toriyama didn't intend for this to be Nurarihyon at all, and titles the character Nūrihyon. Toriyama didn't include any story or explanation of his yokai. Appearances can be deceiving, and Nurarihyon is the perfect illustration of that saying. Overall, he is rather benign looking, his head elongated and gourd-shaped. His face is wizened and wrinkled, resembling a cross between an old man and a catfish. He wears elegant clothing, often a splendid silk kimono or the rich robes of a Buddhist abbot, and carries himself in the quiet manner of a sophisticated gentleman. The short, comical, elderly Nurarihyon is actually the most powerful and elite of all the yokai in the world. He travels in an ornate palanquin carried by human or yokai servants, often visiting red light districts, but occasionally stopping at mountain villas as well. He is known as the Supreme Commander of all monsters, and every yokai listens to his words and pays him respect, treating him as the elder and leader in all yokai meetings. Along with Odoroshi and Nazuchi, Nurarihyon leads the procession known as the Night Parade of 100 Demons through the streets of Japan on dark, rainy nights. He fits the role of Supreme Commander every bit as much when he interacts with humans as well. Nurarihyon shows up on evenings when a household is extremely busy. He arrives at homes unexpectedly in his splendid palanquin and slips into the house, unnoticed by anyone. He acts in all respects as if he were the master of the house, helping himself to the family's luxuries such as fine teas and tobacco. His power is so great that even the real owners of the house can do nothing to stop him. In fact, even after they finally notice his presence, the owners believe the Nurarihyon to actually be the rightful master of the house. Eventually he leaves just as he came, quietly and politely slipping out of the house and into his palanquin, as the owners of the house obsequiously bow and wave him farewell. Only after he has left does anyone become suspicious of the mysterious old man who just visited. As to Nurarihyon's origins, there is only speculation, for the oldest records of his existence are mere sketches and paintings. His name connotes a slippery evasiveness, which he employs when posing as master of the house. Its name comes from nurari, to slip away, and hyun, an onomatopoeia describing floating upwards, written with the kanji for gourd, due to the shape of his head. In Okayama, some evidence exists linking Nurarihyon to Umibozu. There, Nurarihyon are globe-shaped sea creatures, about the size of a man's head, which float about in the Seto Inland Sea. When fishermen try to catch one, the sphere sinks down into the water just out of reach and then bobs back up mockingly. It has been theorized that some of these slippery globes migrate to land, where they gradually gain influence and power, becoming the Nurarihyon known throughout the rest of Japan. Whether this theory is the true origin of the supreme commander of all monsters or just one more of his many mysteries is yet to be solved. Images of Nurarihyon, commonly depicted as an elderly figure with a prominent, rounded head, first emerged during Japan's Edo period in Sawaki Sushi's Hyakki Yagyō and Toriyama Sekien's Gazu Hyakki Yagyō, the illustrated night parade of 100 demons. According to Michael Dillon Foster, a professor of East Asian languages and cultures at the University of California, Davis, and author of the Book of Yokai, Mysterious Creatures of Japanese Folklore, Nurarihyon is typically portrayed in folklore as a benign yokai who sneaks into homes to enjoy tea or other comforts while the occupants are away. But over time, it developed a reputation for being cunning and sly, using its shape-shifting and manipulation skills to outsmart humans or other yokai. Zach Davison, a writer and Japanese folklorist, says the shift in personality could stem from Koshoku Heidokusen's tale about a married man who falls in love with a prostitute. In the story, Nurarihyon is introduced as a faceless, catfish-type creature who is the spirit of deception. This narrative sparked theories proposing a correlation with the legendary spherical sea creatures in the Seto Inland Sea in Okayama Prefecture, commonly called Umibozu. These bulbs, about the size of a human's head, tease and elude fishermen, submerging just out of reach before resurfacing mockingly, says Foster, which could allude to Nurarihyon's enigmatic nature. Davison adds that Mizuki Shigeru's depiction of Nurarihyon in the anime JJJ no Kataro played a crucial role in creating the yokai we see in modern-day pop culture. In the show, Nurarihyon is the supreme commander of all supernatural beings and the leader of the yokai night parade. According to Foster, folklorist Fujisawa Morihiko labeled an image of Nurarihyon in his book with the caption, Yokai no Oyadama, which could be translated as leader of yokai, yokai boss, or yokai chief. Foster says the way Nurarihyon has stayed relevant in the modern day may be due to the unique nature of the yokai. Perhaps it is the folkloric indeterminacy of the Nurarihyon. the fact that he is an interesting-looking figure but has no clear characteristics. That has allowed him to become a sort of mutable figure that can be developed in various ways in popular cultural materials, he says.